There is no reception without a reaction, and no impression without a corresponding expression. The great law regarding impressions and emotions is that if an emotion is not carried out on its own level, it will react on a lower level. The only test as to whether to allow an impression or emotion is to ask, what will this emotion lead to if I let it have its way? Push it to its logical conclusion, and if the outcome is something God would condemn, grip it on the thresholds of your mind, as in a vice, and allow it no more way. But if it is an emotion kindled by the Spirit of God, at the peril of your soul, you refuse to act it out. Because if you do not let that emotion have its right issue in your life, it will react on a lower level. Whereas if you act an emotion out on its right level, you live your whole life onto God's platform. Paul mentions gross immorality in close connection with the sanctification, because every devotional emotion not worked out on its own level will react on an immoral level secretly. This accounts for the fact that men and women whose private life is exceedingly wrong often show an amazing liking for devotional literature, for the writings of the saints, for the stirrings of an abstruse emotions. This is the way sentimentalists are made. Every emotion must express itself, and if it is not expressed on the right level, it will react on a lower level. And the higher the emotion, the more degraded the level on which it will react. A saint is a bundle of specially qualified reactions. For every possible circumstance in life, there is a line of behavior marked out in advance for us. It is not marked in black and white. We have to be familiar with God's book, that when we come to a crisis, the Spirit of God brings back to our memory the things we have read but never understood. And we see what we should do. God is making characters, not mechanisms. We have to get our bodily mechanism into line with what God has worked in. The mighty work of God is done by His sovereign grace. Then we have to work it out in our behavior. Ye are witnesses, and God also, how holy and righteously and unblameably we behave ourselves toward you that believe. Unblameable does not mean faultless. It means a blameless disposition, undeserving of censure, that is, undeserving of censure in the sight of God. God who sees everything, as written in Jude chapter 24, now to Him who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you blameless before the presence of His glory with great joy.